Welcome to another TUFF League TV production. This time on TUFF Top 5s, we are breaking down the top 5 most underrated Spartan players in the league. To be called out as an underrated player, you have to show potential. You have to be ready to explode into the spotlight. We look at players who may not have the most stats on their team, but are key players that do work week in and week out. No top players here, but players that we expect to be in the top very soon. Our first player on the list, taking the number 5 spot, is number 3 on the Mountain Lions, Javonte Sawyer. Sawyer's the third receiver in this offense, but that does not mean his talent doesn't deserve to be higher. He has 240 yards on the season, which is only 30 per game, but when you have 7 touchdowns, almost one every single game, you have potential, and you are definitely part of the glue holding your team together. Not only that, but Sawyer put up 3 interceptions on defense. Sawyer gives his team points, and then the opportunity for more points. The number 4 most underrated player is Blackhawks quarterback Jeff Smith. Unfortunately, this season did not bode too well for Smith and the Hawks with a 2-6 record. But one would be foolish to call this a lost season. Smith showed what he is capable of and threw for over 2,100 yards and 35 touchdowns, and only a pick per game. The Blackhawks defense is average, and they didn't have a 500-yard receiver. Give Smith a playmaker or two to add to the team, and I can see him over the 2,500-yard mark and 40 touchdowns, which may be just enough to get them into the postseason and beyond. Our number 3 is Danny Apollos, number 7 of the Vikings. When you are playing behind Eric Luna and LJ Stevens, you should automatically be qualified as underrated, especially when you're putting up stats. That is not to say Apollos is not a talented receiver. We see major ability in him, and maybe a move up to Titan will spark the fire. He had over 300 yards last season and 6 touchdowns. Trust and believe he can get to 612, and what a story that would be for a Vikings team looking to prove themselves. Number 2 on our list is a player who definitely is not underrated when it comes to on-field fashion. Number 6 of the Park Bums, Josh Rivera. Some would argue that Rivera sitting at number 6 for Spartan receiving yards wouldn't be considered as underrated, but Rivera isn't mentioned nearly as much as he could or should be. He only had 6 touchdowns on the season, but that could easily double. Not only was Rivera a yardage monster, but he had 5 defensive interceptions. We think he could be a key factor and a top Spartan receiver going forward. We wrap up our top 5 most underrated players in the Titan division with number 20 of the Condors, Derek Fossmore. Derek is a leading receiver on the team, but with his athletic talent, he could do so much more. He had less than 450 receiving yards, but did have 6 touchdowns. The Mid-City Spartan division is a defensive division, which could account for his average numbers. We still believe that Fossmore could be a force and an X factor for his squad. If he can come in and be a dominant force with over 600 plus yards and 10 touchdowns, the Condors could find themselves in serious contention for the Spartan Cup. There you have it, TUFF League TV's top 5 most underrated Spartan players in the league. Make sure to catch our other video for our top 5 most underrated Titan players. I'm Steven from TUFF League TV, and we will see you on our next edition of Game Day.